Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Anmol Sahib from Sopra Banking Software and I will be your host for Request to Pay Challenges and Opportunities webinar. We are joined by our experts today from Sopra Banking Software to talk to us about challenges and opportunities that Request to Pay brings with itself and how Sopra can help banks to make most out of this new service. At this point, I would like to tell you that we will use request to pay and RTP, which is short for request to pay, interchangeably in this webinar. So we will start today's discussion by understanding request to pay and the services available in the market. We will talk about the opportunities presented by request to pay for the banks, followed by a discussion on why banks should go now, why they should invest in this service today. Then we will focus on the challenges that the banks can potentially face in implementing a request to pay solution. Further, we will showcase Sopra's request to pay solution and how it can benefit banks. In the last segment, we will take questions from our listeners. During the webinar, you will be on mute, but if you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the questions tab on the right hand side of your screen. Please try using the questions tab and not the chat tab so that we can have all the questions together. For all remaining questions, we will try to answer all your questions in the Q&A session in the end. But if we miss any of your questions, we will get back to you via email. I would also like to tell you that during the webinar, we will have a poll. So it will like appear on your screen and you can choose very easily by clicking on the options available, your response. Then we will share the results with you, of course. On that note, please allow me to welcome our speakers, Lohan Hupe, the head of payment solution at Sopra Banking Software, and Mahiam Buamar, payment solution manager at Sopra Banking Software. Welcome, guys, and thank you for joining us today. So, to begin with, Lohan, I would like to ask you, what is request to pay? I mean, we hear all the time that it is the missing link, but what gap is it bridging?
Yeah, thank you, Anmol. Hello all, thank you for joining. So, Request to Pay, what is it? It is a new means allowing creditor to ask a debtor for the payment of a bill. The Request to Pay carry all the information, allowing to make the payment without mistake. All this digitally and in real time. It is a bridge between the business and the payment. For the moment, when a customer has to pay, he receives a bill and has to key a payment with the possibility of mistakes. With RTP, life is easier for the payer. He receives a RTP and he says, okay, I accept it. And behind the payment is generated. This payment could be a SEPA credit transfer or instant payment or other credit transfer like internal one or local one. It is essential to know that the identifier of the actor, payee and payer, can be of different types and not only IBAN. You can have a phone number, an email address, and alias. Once a payer receives a RTP, he has the option to decline or defer the payment or make the payment in multiple times. RTP basically opens a communication channel between the payer and the biller, giving them the opportunity to negotiate the term of payments. Let us now look at some RTP initiatives available in the market. As you can see on this slide, there are many service providers offering functionalities partially similar to Request to Pay service around the globe. The service providers are mostly fintech, like PayPal from US, Alipay from China, Paytm from India, and so on. They offer multiple use cases, P2P, C2B, B2C, and B2B, and follow different methods of customer enrollment, bank account, or cards. Similarly, there are some fintech providing RTP service in European countries as well, such as Lydia in France, Revolut in UK, and more.
I would like to interrupt you here, Lohan, because you named some fintechs that are offering services in Europe. So, like like Lydia or Revolut for that matter. But this gives rise to many questions. I mean, when we already have these big techs and fintechs offering a service very similar to Request to Pay, then why do we need these new initiatives like SEPA Request to Pay or the Request to Pay offered by Pay.UK? I mean, what do these new initiatives they bring to the table that the earlier service providers are unable to provide?
Yeah, Anmol, it's important that you understand that there are certain shortcomings or limitations to this player. First, they are all private players, and they follow a three-corner model, meaning that both the payer and the payee need to be on their platform to use their service. Secondly, the use case offered by player individually are mostly limited, as you see on the slide. Thirdly, some of these services are not real-time. Fourthly, since they are private players, those which are present in Europe cover limited geographies. Lastly, as they are fintech and outside the banking system, there is a break in the user payment journey. To answer to this limitation, SEPA Request to Pay is created. This new scheme consolidates the market by following a common standard across the SEPA region. It leverages pan-SEPA schemes such as SCT instant payment, and SEPA credit transfer to make payments. Moreover, it follows a four-corner model, implying that the payer and the payee don't need to use the same service provider and can stay with his trusted bank. In principle, the RTP can adapt.
I think we lost Laurent because of internet connection. Maybe Mariam, you can complete what you wanted to say.
Yes, yes. So for the request to pay that is planned, maybe Laurent wanted to speak about the request to pay journey and what is planned by the EPC in terms of publishing rule books and others. So let me maybe present you the request to pay roadmap. So to begin, hello everyone. Thank you for joining. The EPC published the first version of the rulebook in November 2020, and the implementation guidelines at the beginning of 2021. So the application is planned during this year. And the second version is currently underway and is expected to release in November 2021 with a go live in 2022. So even the players positioned on interbank exchange, we can mention EBA Clearing and States, are also announcing their services and have published or will publish their specifications. It's important to mention that the Berlin Group also that provided API standards for PSD2 is also working on request to pay API specifications with the related operational rules and implementation guidelines.
But what is the process for banks to provide this RTP service? I mean, do they have to enroll somewhere? What formalities they need to complete?
Yes, there is maybe services needed. Maybe Laurent, you can.
Yeah, I'm there. I don't know if you hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So yeah, thank you, Mariam, for the roadmap. So you can go maybe to on the next slide. So with RTP, bank can provide service that are currently provided by fintech and big techs. Like explained before, it is an opportunity for them to improve and retain their customer bases and generate new revenue stream by providing value-added service and various use cases. In fact, as you can see on this slide, there is a diverse range of use cases that RTP brings with itself. Customer to business, business to business, business to government, business to customer, person to person, customer to merchant, merchant to customer, and many more. For all these use cases, different type of payments, recurring, non-recurring, can be covered with small or large transaction amount. Among these various use cases, customer to merchant or merchant to customer is expected to capture the major part of RTP message with 36%, followed by B2C and C2B interaction. It is important to note that EPC is working on different use cases that will be put in place with different requirements in the coming year, as explained by Mariam. For a better understanding of these use cases, let Mariam and I give you 3 examples. Mariam, could you give me a first example?
Yes, of course, Laurent. So I propose to start with a B2C use case, the most useful one, maybe. Let's imagine a plumber. A plumber coming at your home to fix something. At the end of his job, he would like to be paid. So currently, for this, you can pay by check, by cash, or take the bill and pay a payment later. These 3 means of payments are inconvenient for both parties at different levels. We can mention time consuming in the validation process, money transfer, and reconciliation with the bill, and so on. So imagine now your plumber with a request to pay ability in front of you. He knows your data, for example, phone number, account number, as mentioned at the beginning by Laurent, it can be any alias. So he keys main informations on his smartphone, send the request to pay to his bank, and you are notified. You just have to click I agree, and all is done. Request to pay confirmation reach the plumber in front of you in real time, and payment is sent. So all this process within the secure environment of banks. You see, for the plumber, the advantages are multiple compared to other means of payment. So there is no risk with cash, no risk to lose checks or to have payment defaults, and the payment reconciliation is done automatically.
Yeah, I can give a second example. Here we take the case of taking a life insurance contract on the internet. Imagine I'm a customer looking for a life insurance contract on internet. I select one contract and proceed to payment. The contract will be triggered after I make the first payment. It's work like that. But wait, I cannot make the payment through card because the amount I have to pay is higher than my card limit. So I must go outside the subscription process and pay via check or wire transfer or a direct debit. In any case, not immediately. This is as customer inconvenient for me, but also for the insurer when you know that the final completion rate of such process is currently very low. With request to pay, the insurer will send a request to pay to me. All I have to do is to accept and complete the transfer. So request to pay will make my journey as well as of the issuer more fluid, leading to higher contract conversion rate. For the business, this is very important. It will also avoid manual step of reconciliation between the payment received and the completion of the contract. For the subscription customer, it means more fluidity and an immediate start of his contract without having to verify the correct completion of future steps.
Maria, maybe you can give another example for Mood.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, for a last example, we can take the case of the monthly payments of a personal loan. So the consumer credit company chooses to offer certain customers repayment deadlines, for example, via request to pay. So as request to pay offer the ability to schedule the amount requested in several payments. This allows the customer to better follow up his refunds according to the situation of his account. So the credit company is able to avoid the loss due to unpaid debts, which is the loss of the principal amounts and costs associated with launch of a new recovery procedure. So with request to pay, the credit company can recover parts of the debt on a due date and have visibility on the payment of the rest. For the customer, this makes it possible to schedule this reimbursement based on their cash position without falling into a hard procedure automatically.
Yeah, and Mariam, don't forget that apart from these use cases, banks have the opportunity to create new channels of revenue by providing added value services around these use cases, like explained on the slide. For example, for an individual as a payer, bank can offer to sort and to store the element of RTP with a supporting document in a digital safe. This can be useful for customers to manage guarantee typically, or on the basis of the element transmitted in the RTP, which are very rich, final analysis of customer budget can be done and proposed to the customer. The banks can also provide short-term credit facilities such as overdraft via RTP. For a company as a payer, RTP can be integrated into company decision-making process for making payment. The company can establish the date and amount of payment transaction, thus effectively managing the liquidity position and working capital. For a company as a payee, we can imagine upstream positioning of the service with dematerialization of invoice before directing them to debtor, or routing them to a post office, or even directing them to a platform like Chorus Pro in the French platform to send the invoice to the administration. Obviously, the operation of reconciling payment associated with RTP is clearly a valuable service. And these are just some examples of services that bank can cross-sell.
Indeed, Laurent, I think it can be rightly said that with the request to pay, the possibilities that the banks can offer are endless. I mean, so many use cases, and then on top of those use cases, so many added services for each use case. So indeed, I would like at this point to remind the audience that please, if you have any questions, use the questions tab on the right side of your screen to send them to us, and we will answer them in the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. Okay, so speaking about all these opportunities, I would like to ask you, for banks to gain from these possibilities, I mean, the market, the end user, the customers of the banks, they all must be willing to use these services. But speaking concretely from a business perspective, are there any indications in the market which make believe that yes, these possibilities can actually be materialized?
That's a very good question, Anmol. Not only is it important to know about customer sentiments, but it's also imperative to look at various trends in the market that push adoption of request to pay. First, let's look at the digitalization trend. The digitalization of payment has been underway for several years, and we just observe its acceleration with COVID situation. As you can see on this slide, from 2018 to April 2020, the digital payment increased from 50% to around 65% due to the lockdown, returning and settling to slightly more than 60% with deconfinement. This shows increased acceptance of digital mode of payment due to the simplicity and comfort it provides in making a payment. From RTP perspective, this trend is very important, as RTP is mainly based on digital modes of payment. RTP further simplifies payers and payee journey in terms of invoicing, payment, cash management, communication, and reconciliation, to name a few. Next, I will speak about the consumer sentiment, as you are asking, Anmol. To study customer sentiments, our sister company Galit conduct a survey to study the perception of end user regarding request to pay. The study was conducted in France with people from different age, gender, social professional category, and national geography. The result of the survey indicate acceptance of request to pay and the value added services that is potentially bring along with it. 70% of customers were interested in RTP solution, with 30% of those people agree to pay for such a service. Thus, it can be deducted that people are willing to have a more fluid and secure payment services. If possible, with added value added service such as ease of reconciliation, speed of payments, various payment options, and so on. A similar survey was conducted by EBA across 18 European countries to study the sentiment of corporate regarding RTP. The result showed that 97 of 94 corresponding corporates from various industries were interested in using Request to Pay. And just a fun fact, Anmol, we extrapolated existing C2B, B2B payment transaction volume by applying the market share captured by RTP in Australia after 2 years of operation. And based on that, we expect RTP to reach 5 billion transactions per annum in Europe by 2025. The statistics reiterate that the customers are very motivated to use RTP services. Apart from the increasing digitalization and adoption, competition is another factor that banks need to consider. As explained before, fintech and big tech are already answering to the need of communication between the biller and the payer. With PSD2 and open banking, fintech and big tech have already begun disintermediating banking players. They are growing rapidly and already attracting many customers with the value-added service they provide. Currently, the payment market is very segmented, and it is essential that the bank do not remain disinterested. Normally, payment is a way of maintaining the relationship with the customer. It is better if a customer uses his bank application rather than going through another actor. I think you are already with me. RTP is the right opportunity for this. Banks can position themselves strongly as RTP provider in response to fintech, since banks directly hold the account of the customer. Moreover, banks can leverage the added value service around RTP that they can provide. This service can be, but not limited to, financing, data analysis, reconciliation of RTP received, payment, etc. Basically, what we are seeing is that alignment of planet is taking place to promote the development of SRTP. First, as explained by Mariam, the rulebook has been published for Go Live from May 2021. This shows the will of the European bodies to push RTP. Secondly, the player positioned on the inter-service network, as EBA or state, have published their specification and have announced the time of opening of their service. Thirdly, instant payment, which is the preferred means of payment in connection with RTP, is in place, and the number of banks offering it increasing in Europe. And so before that, SCT maybe will become mandatory. Banks are also looking to leverage RTP to further increase the number of SCT in transactions. And lastly, EPI, the European Payment Initiative, you hear about it, rely on Request to Pay for its end-to-end payment instrument, SCT-ins. If banks want to be ready for EPI time, they should start planning their RTP strategy. So, speaking concretely from a business perspective, we think that the time is now.
I think I have no choice but to agree with you, Laurent. It does look like that the stars, they have aligned for the banks to make a move, but then there's again a challenge. When banks make a move, they need also to know the potential challenges that they can face. I mean, imagine if I am a bank and I'm in the process of deciding whether I should go or not go for the Request to Pay service. There are certain factors that I must consider. What are your thoughts on it, Mariam?
Yes, Anmol, in our mind, there are two main factors that banks should focus on. One is related to the technical challenges, and the other is more inclined toward business. First, I will speak about the technical challenges. As discussed earlier, Request to Pay has a diverse range of use cases that go beyond those proposed in the rulebook. This comes with a lot of challenges in managing compliance and integrating with the existing information system of the banks. So, for example, in UK, Pay UK provides cash as means of payment in response to a Request to Pay. So, integrating cash payment in the solution poses challenges. Similarly, to provide value-added services associated with each use case, it's imperative for the Request to Pay solution to interact with other components in the information system. So, for example, when a payer receives request to pay, he must be able to check his balance without switching applications. In case he does not have enough balance, the bank can propose a credit facility as added value service. Thus, request to pay is effectively generating two interactions: first, to view account standing, and second, for financing. This leads us to another challenge when request to pay interact with other components. It's possible that the existing infrastructure is not responsive in real time, while request to pay works in real time. And lastly, there are a lot of changes going on in the payment markets. The request to pay rule books will evolve that might lead to new regulatory requirements. Similarly, EPI, the European Payment Initiative, is one big initiative ongoing to consolidate European payment markets. It leveraged the service of instant payment and request to pay. Therefore, when implementing request to pay, it's important for banks to ensure that the solution is able to adapt to complexities brought in the future when they implement API, for example. The banks need a global payment strategy and a solution that can transcend current and future complexity. Now, the second challenge, the return of investments. As request to pay is a new service, we know that even if consumers have positive sentiments, they will take time to adopt it. Some will be earlier adopters and some will wait for further maturity. It will be important to understand the speed of adoption, and in such a situation, the return of investment is difficult to predict. For this, banks should think of a strategy that will help them gain revenue from the beginning while limiting the cost. To build this strategy, banks need to identify use cases with an easy implementation for the launch of the service, and then to increase the scope to more complex use cases with more volumes. They also need to identify the value addition of some services and address the gaps in the existing payment chain to estimate the costs of compliance. And as long as there is uncertainty about the volumes, banks need to have a progressive increase of their system that can start with conservative volume and easily scale to higher volumes when required without any service interruption or downtime to ensure the real-time service.
You are on mute, Anmol.
Yes, I don't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Okay.
think, yes, the banks, they do need a global strategy for payments. And I can say that the road is not going to be very easy for them, especially with so many regulatory changes. Here, I would like to ask a question from the audience. So there's a poll coming up on your screens. In your company's perspective, which use case would you like to implement initially? You have the options on your screens, P2P, e-business, and so on. Let's wait a few seconds for everybody to answer, and then we can proceed.
Yeah, just to mention that is in the pool sections.
Yes, it's in the poll section. Okay, so as we can see, there are like almost 1/3 of you, of all the people present here, they would like to go with the B2C addressed to craftsmen and professionals. Thank you for participating. coming back, I would like to ask you, Mariam, how can Sopra banking software help banks to address these challenges that we just talked about? Can you please throw some light on the Sopra banking software's request to pay solution?
Of course. So Sopra offers an end-to-end solution based on some components, some pre-assembled components for the request to pay. We have a central component called request to pay management, which manage request to pay. It's in charge of the business process management. I will deep dive in this in the following slide. Then there are other components of the payment platform with complementary functionalities. We have, for example, PSS, Payment Service Subscription for corporate contract management. We have also Corpex for bank customers exchanging, corporate reporting, Corprep, for reporting information such as account status to the corporate. We have EP and PACE as payment factories for initiating and processing payments, and IPC for interbank exchange. Our aim is to offer pre-assembled components to the banks so they can reduce time to market and quickly start offering first use cases. If we go, yes, thank you. Here, let's zoom in on the two components primarily involved in request to pay process. We have the RTPM, request to pay management, and the IPC, the instant clearing exchange. A quick look at IPC, the instant clearing exchange manages the interbank exchange. It takes care of routine, protocol management, and connectivity with via clearing and states. IPC is also in charge of determining if the request to pay is reachable or not. For the RTPM component, request to pay management component, it's the heart of the system. It performs operations and process involved on both the payee and the payer side, while fully complying with the SEPA rulebook. This component manages the processing of request to pay to be issued, initiated by payees with the syntax, structure, and business checks, and transmit them to interbank via IPC. For the received request to pay from interbank via IPC, always, this time for the payer side, it provides information notification via APIs, so the payer can make a decision. He can accept or not, make a pre-decision to be validated later, and so on, and then send the appropriate response to the interbank, to the payee. Some of complementary functions are also managed, like the processing of the request to pay cancellations messages, or for the status updates, and so on. All requests to pay processed and related requests for cancellation and requests for status updates are stored. They have a lifecycle management with an event report produced at each status change and an audit trail, and also billing element production. The request to pay management offer a back office user interface is also for back office users to know how to answer the questions of the customers, or to see if there is not passing cases, for example.
I think, Mariam, it might be getting a little technical for our audience now. So let me ask you this. We spoke about the challenges that banks can face during integration of request to pay. How does Sopra solution answer to this integration challenge, I would say?
So, well, our solution uses API approach to integrate in the bank's existing IT system and provide value-added services. This slide illustrates the global ecosystem and the different business components involved in the process. We can see in one hand interaction with payment factories, for example, or the account management, or all the existing component in the IT system of the bank to manage existing payments, for example. And on the other hand, we can see the integration with the users' interfaces. It's therefore essential to keep in mind that beyond the primary objective of the solution, which is covering the regulatory request-to-pay requirements, the approach proposed, the API approach, allows the banks to offer cost-effective services to their customer by using APIs to allow interaction of RTPM with various other applications. So, for example, API for initiating a payment or initiating a request to pay, it's more for request to pay, or for retrieving a request to pay file. We can also have an API for making a decision, or with the possibility of modifying the data of the payment, the account, the amount, or making multiple payments, etc.
Thank you, Mariam, for a detailed view on the solution. Laurent, I would like to rope you in. I would like to ask you, what do you think, in your opinion, are the core capabilities of Sopra solution, and how can they benefit banks?
Yeah, thank you, Anmol. First, as explained in detail by Mariam, our solution covers the end-to-end life cycle of RTP. Thus, banks do not have to look for multiple vendors for multiple processes. From RTP management to subsequent transaction initiation, processing, and settlement is covered with our comprehensive solution. Secondly, flexibility of our solution answers to the regulatory evolution and diverse use cases challenge discussed earlier. Our adaptable solution can accommodate multiple diverse use cases, thus lifting the return on investment for the banks. We have natively built the solution to activate or deactivate various controls that influence the life cycle and determine processing priorities. For example, user bank can choose to prioritize processing an RTP in the context of API over a recurring invoice, typically. Moreover, since the component must respect the platform principle, there are multiple language, multiple institutional, multiple currency, even through RTP is initiated only on euro base. The objective of this flexibility is to know how to adapt the context of the current and the future deployment of RTP and lift the return on investment for banks. Thirdly, cloud native architecture allows the banks to easily grow volume without worrying about downtime or service interruption, ensuring excellent performance. Fourthly, our solution is pre-assembled, which implies that banks can quickly go to market and implement first use cases. And lastly, based on bank preference, the solution can be delivered in multiple modes, on-premise, managed service, or SaaS.
Thank you, Mariam, and thank you, Laura, for providing the audience with an overview of Sopra's request-to-pay solution and its benefits. After this discussion that we have been having, I think I can safely say that even though request-to-pay it's not a payments instrument, it will still play a very big role in the future of payments. The number of use cases and the value-added services that it brings along, it is tremendous. Banks, I think they can vastly benefit from it and reposition themselves against rising fintechs and big techs. Of course, new offerings, they come with their own challenges, but I believe that in case of request to pay, the opportunities and the benefits that the banks they stand to gain, it completely outweigh the challenges. We can now move on to our Q&A session where we will be answering some of the questions that the people from the audience they have been asking. So let me look at the questions. The first question that is coming up is what is the difference between SEPA request to pay and the request to pay defined by pay.uk? Maybe Laurent, you can answer this one.
Yeah, I can answer this question. It's a good question because yes, there is a similar initiative in UK managed by Pay UK, so can make the parallelism between Pay UK and EPC in Europe. So the RTP process in UK is broadly the same. It is dedicated to UK and sterling. It's logic, but there is no cancellation process provided, but two additional service like extension request and information request message.
Okay. The next question is, when do you think the banks they can begin to deploy request to pay solution? Maria, maybe you can answer this one.
Yes. Significantly, it will be in 2022, probably the second half of 2022. So the banks must decide now if they want to go live by 2022.
Okay. So next one is, what can be the first use case in our opinion? Oh, so I think that it's coming from the poll that we had on what use cases would the audience prefer. But in our opinion, what do you think can be first use case?
I globally agree with the pool. I think the business to customer, so the example of the plumber that come at your home, explained by Mariam, is maybe one of the first that can be put in place, and one interesting one. And but also we think that mass business to customer with recurrence will be also in the first use case implemented because it's easy to implement.
Okay, so B2C it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
B2C.
So next question we have is it's asking more about the economic model of request to pay. Laurent, maybe you can answer this one. I think it's
Yeah, I will try. Yeah, you know, maybe that there is some bank that invoice instant payment for the moment. But with request to pay that is coming, it's maybe the best business case that you can put on instant payment for the moment. As explained before in the presentation, when you see 30% of respondents are agree to pay for request to pay. So clearly, you can, as a bank, you can put some fees on initiation of request to pay for the payee. He will agree to that because it will facilitate his life.
okay. Next question is more about our solution, Sopra solution. It's about when will Sopra solution be available? Mariam, maybe you can answer this one.
The first version is will be ready in the second semester of 2021, and we expect regular release following the deployment of the request to pay on the market and the evolution of the EPC, EBA clearing, other specifications which come in.
The next we have is about limit. Is there any limit on the amount of amount for RTP for request to pay?
Yeah, we can answer to this one, Anmol, if you want. There is no limit for request to pay. It's mainly the underlying payment that is the limit of the request to pay. So to take an example, for the moment, instant payment, the limit is 100,000 euro. And so the RTP with an instant payment behind cannot go over this limit. But there is also the limit that the bank put on the customer at the level of the channel to initiate payment. So it's a mix of those two limits. But yeah, it's mainly the underlying payment that limits the RTP.
Okay. Next one we have asks, as request to pay will be four corner scheme, is a brand needed?
It's a quite difficult question. Not necessary. Even if when you look at EPI, there will be a sort of brand on request to pay because the request to pay will be behind behind EPI, behind the new end-to-end STT-INS as called by European Payment Initiative. So there is a brand somewhere. I will say like that.
Okay. Next we have coming up is how a merchant can identify the user and bank to send him a request to pay.
Yes, there is. This is the question beyond the using of alias or other information different than the IBAN of the payer. The phone or email identifier will be sent to the request to pay, and then it's more the request to pay provider that we need to identify the payer beyond proxies than the merchant. It will be a central system who will identify the payee. The payers with those identifiants.
Okay.
And there is some initiative existing in some country, not in other one, but there is some proxy server, some proxy at the level of some country, and so it can change, transform the phone number or something like that in IBAN, and so it can help to initiate a request to pay. But we know that also that EPI is also looking to this new with this notion of proxy in central way for all Europe. So it will come very quickly with request to pay.
Okay. Let me see if we have more questions unanswered. If it is visible to you, Laura and Mariam, I would also request you to have a look at the questions. If they are not answered, maybe you can pick one.
The security question, how much secure this would be, considering the fact buyer is sharing bank details with the merchant, no risk of any fraud. There is no more risk than at present when when you give your IBAN, you have already a risk. So why the request to pay will give more probability of fraud? We don't think so.
Okay. Then someone also asked, what is your vision on an efficient pay enrollment and payer activation?
Good question. Laurent, I don't know if you have some elements.
I know that there is some change foreseen in the rule book, in the next version of the rule book. So it will come in the next version of the rule book and will be integrated in our solution typically next year. We are still looking at what is proposed in the rule book, because rule book for the moment are only for some use cases, oriented for some use cases. But we know that this will evolve, and so as you see, it will be foreseen in the version 2 of the rule book normally. This part, the efficiency of payment enrollment and payer activation.
Okay, I think we have answered security. Yeah, I think we have answered all the questions that have been asked in the chat window. So let's move ahead. Okay, so I think we are reaching the end of our session since we do not have any more questions. We really hope that you found this session very useful and informative. You can find more information about our solution on our website. Please feel free to contact us for any further information. You will find the link for our website for our request to pay solution website in the chat in just 1 second. Yep, here it is. And for any information for more information on any of our products and services, please feel free to visit soprabanking.com. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.